Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub, Pub Sports Radio, Friday, November 18th. Ian Cameron, Skee Prophet, Billy Briz, ready to break down a massive Friday slate. We got a ton of games on the card tonight to break down 11 in total. We'll start with Miami and Washington. Huge move toward the Wizards here. Miami open 1-point road favorites. Washington now 6-point home favorites. Total 215.5 in this game. Pretty soon we're going to get called on to suit up for the Miami Heat tonight. In this game, because they are obviously woefully shorthanded for the game tonight. Duncan Robinson out, Tyler Hero out, Jimmy Butler out, Bam's not going to play. It looks like with the knee injury, stomach illness for Dwayne Dedmon, Caleb Martin actually might play. It looks like he's been upgraded to probable with his knee injury, but it's definitely a shorthanded Miami team. That's why all the money's come in on Washington. They're relatively healthy for the most part now. They just, of course, got Bradley Beal back a couple games ago. However, they ended up losing against OKC, and just an incredible performance from my guy SGA, including the three-point shot to win that game, 121-120. Outstanding performance by him. Washington loses that game that snapped a 4-game win streak for them. Heat lose 112-104 to the Raptors in their last game. You know, now at the number where it's at, I'm not involved. Certainly Miami's just too shorthanded. And quite honestly, on the road, they have not played well either. The Miami Heat as of late. They've lost to Sacramento, Indy, and Toronto in their last 3 road games. But if you haven't laid if you're late to the party and you didn't take Washington already, I don't know if I'd lay 6, but certainly no interest in the Heat tonight. Skee, what do you think, Miami, Washington?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed this one, Bobano. I did get in early with the Wizards. I got a -1. And, I thought even with Jimmy Butler in, I was ready for this team to come in and dominate, just because I know they've been a better defensive team. They're top 5 the last 5 games, and I know they can out-rebound them. You have a banged-up Bam Adebayo, and now I'm not sure if Bam is out there, but I know Jimmy's not. And without Jimmy, I think they're like 1-7 against the spread their last 8 games. Yeah. And they're 1-4 straight up and against the spread this year on the road. I would want nothing to do with the Miami Heat. Only way I can look is still the Wizards. I'm just happy I got in early. So even if it's now, I will lean Wizards, but I don't have to make that decision.
That's exactly right. That's why, as soon as you hear the news coming out, you got to jump on this stuff, because the public, the betting markets will react, and that's what they have done. And certainly the Wizards, off a disheartening loss to OKC, he damn well fucking better be an all-star. Someone in the chat mentioning that about SGA. He better. I don't want to see this favoritism and this bullshit that we sometimes see with the all-star game voting. The guys that deserve it based on their season that they've had to that point deserve to be in the all-star game and deserve to be a starter. I think he's getting close to that territory, SGA, with the season he's putting together right now. What do you think here, Billy Briz?
Yeah, man, I think the Wizards are still a good number. Maybe you could take the alt line -5.5, get a little bit of juice. That's at -120 in some places. The Heat have just been playing bad basketball overall, 5-16 last 21 games overall ATS, and now 4 in their last 4 road games ATS. Wizards have been rolling 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games overall. Bradley Beal, he was a little bit cold in that last game. I think he could probably bounce back in the positive category. His point prop is pretty low today, considering the misses for the Heat tonight. 16-plus field goal attempts in 6 straight games, and he went 1 for 6 inside the paint the last game. So I think Bradley Beal is definitely due for a bounce back. Heat-wise, no props that really stood out for me, because I don't really know what to see in the rotation. I thought Dedmon was going to get a little bit more minutes, but Dedmon just looks old, man. Their rookie Jokic, I can't really pronounce the name, but he's been looking a little bit better. Maybe we get some more minutes from Duncan Robinson. No player props for him, but I think it's Wizards -5.5. I think the number's still good.
All right, next up, we've got Milwaukee and Philly, battle of Eastern Conference contenders. Philadelphia 1.5-point home favorites, 211-212 being the total in this game. For the Milwaukee Bucks, as always, they've had a lengthy injury report. They've been without the same guys for a while, Middleton and Ingles, but Pat Connaughton's been in and out, and still actually thought he'd be back the other night, didn't come back, and still out tonight, it looks like, with the calf injury. So he remains out, and he's a key reserve for this Bucks team. And then you've got Grayson Allen, who's going to play, and Drew Holiday questionable. Also thought maybe he'd return against Cleveland. That also didn't happen. He's now missed the last 4 games with that ongoing sprained right ankle injury that he has. So again, we've got some question marks here for Milwaukee, and that's what I'm waiting on. I think I want to back Milwaukee here. I think they're the better squad right now. I don't trust Philly one game to the next. I know they had back-to-back home wins against Atlanta and Utah, but a kind of an erratic squad. We know Milwaukee head-to-head versus the Sixers. They've done a pretty good job overall. Already beat them earlier this year, 90-88. They've covered actually 7 of the last 8. 7 of the last 9, I should say. 7-2 ATS the last 9 meetings for the Milwaukee Bucks here going into this game. The Sixers have been off a long time. I do want to point that out. 76ers haven't played in almost a week. The last time they took the court in a game was Sunday night against Utah. So they've had time to get this game, get ready to go. Now, I don't know if giving Doc Rivers extra time to prepare for an opponent's not necessarily a good thing. But nevertheless, here you've got Philadelphia with that advantage of having been off for a while. But I do lean Milwaukee. I'm just waiting to see who's in and on the court tonight for the Bucks when it's all said and done. Skee, how about you here? Bucks, Sixers.
Yeah, I like the prop that I need money is, given out right there. I didn't look at the odds right now. I thought about it this morning. It was mentioned to me this morning too. But yeah, Sixers are second worst rebounding team over the last 5 games, and he's been hitting that prop at a pretty good rate. So I probably will jump on there with you as long as it hasn't already been juiced. This game, I bet the under 213.5. I know it's continued to go down. I didn't even get the best of the number. The best of the number was 218.5. But it's gone under 7 of the last 9 games for the Bucks, under 4-1 on the road for them, under 4 of the last 5 games for the Sixers, under 6-2 at the house for them, and both bottom 5 offensive rated teams the last 5 games. I'm looking at the Bucks; they're bottom 10 3-point shooting team so far this season, and Sixers are number 1 defending the 3, and Bucks 12th defending the 3 as well. So I just see a lower scoring game. And when teams like this play, when I think it could be maybe like playoff atmosphere, I just kind of think it's lower scoring. So I went in with the under. And also the Sixers play tomorrow. So far teams this season with the game the next day are above 60% to the under.
There you go. So under trend for the team that's got to play the very next day is playing the front end, essentially, of a back-to-back, which the Sixers are here in this one tonight. By the way, Tobias Harris game time decision, which is odd because, look, they've had all this time off to rest and a big break between games. He hasn't missed a game yet this year, but yet still ended up on the injury report. Apparently he's got a hip issue plaguing him, so he's a game time decision now, Tobias Harris for Philly. What do you think here, Billy?
I don't think Tobias is going to play, man, to be honest with you. So that leads me to the Joel Embiid bandwagon. He's been on fire. Obviously, he's not going to score 56 points like he did in his last game, but averaging 40 points over his last 4 games. I mean, seems like the Embiid over 40.5 points in rebound seems like a good spot here. Just don't really want to back the Sixers. It's just historically not a good spot. They haven't won a home game versus the Bucks since 2019. Over the past 5 years, the Bucks are 8-2 straight up, 7-3 ATS. So it just seems like a spot where you just want to lay off, probably hit a couple props. The Giannis prop looked pretty good, and then Embiid points and rebounds.
All right, we got the Charlotte Hornets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland 9.5 point home favorites, 221 being the total in this game. Charlotte Hornets 125-113 loss to the Indiana Pacers. That was a very good game for me the other night. I was on both the Indy side and also over the total in that game. Both of them came through, which I enjoyed seeing. Now they go on the road. They face the Cleveland Cavaliers, who suddenly are slumping. 5 straight losses, straight up and against the spread for this Cleveland team, as they've been definitely sagging and going the other way a little bit. Have faced pretty rigorous schedule. I mean, tough teams for the most part, aside from maybe Sacramento, and Minnesota's been kind of up and down, but they play the Clippers, Golden State, Milwaukee during that losing streak. So they've had a tough schedule. It's a step down in class for Cleveland here in this game. We'll see how they fare with it. I've got to believe this is an opportunity for Cleveland potentially to just beat the shit out of somebody. They haven't been playing well. I get it. Rubio, Wade, they've been banged up. Jared Allen, by the way, which is a key component to that front court, missed the last 2 games due to a illness. He's questionable tonight in this game against Charlotte, but Charlotte's not got one of those better front courts, premier front courts, if you ask me. I'm definitely trying to talk myself into Cleveland here, maybe in a first half full game split type of deal, because I think they could roll here in this one, a kind of a step down in class. They faced a tough schedule, been on the road for quite a bit as well. I think this is an opportunity, a get well spot, if you will, for Cleveland tonight. -5.5 in the first half, -9, 9.5 for the full game. It's kind of what I'm interested in here. And as far as the total goes in this one, it's kind of back and forth. Cleveland's been kind of, we believe in their defense a little bit, even though it hasn't been nearly as good in recent games, and certainly it's a little bit worse without Allen. Charlotte's a team I want to bet over. We've talked about that. Their pace goes up, defense goes down, scoring goes up with LaMelo Ball back. Maybe you could lean over the total. I do in this game, and actually I might like it even more if Allen doesn't play, because that could get Cleveland in a little bit more of a speed up, less defense type situation as well. What do you think here, Skee, Charlotte, Cleveland?
Yeah, there's no LaMelo in this game. So just take that for what it's worth, for whatever you're thinking with what he brings to this team. I will, however, pivot to Rozier. He's from Cleveland, and every time he's been there in Hornets uniform, he's killed him. I know he's had like a 24-point game. It was one game. It was something that happened. He only had 6 points, but he's had a 30-point game, 35. Like he kills it when he goes back home. And usually, players who can score do. So his point prop is 20.5. I take that one up and over.
Yeah, the ankle. You're right. Ankle injury for LaMelo Ball out. Yeah, he suffered it at the end of that Indiana game, didn't return. And that's unfortunate. He was out for such a long period of time, comes back for 3 games. Now he's injured again here for the Charlotte Hornets. So there is no LaMelo tonight. So that changes. Actually, that makes the Cleveland stance for me even a little bit stronger, in my opinion. And Rozier, you're right. I'm looking at the numbers now in the past, these individual game logs for him against Cleveland. Yeah, he's had some big nights shooting the ball against them. What do you think here, Billy?
I like that look from Skee, man. Would you endorse the over 2.5 threes at -128?
Yeah, he's jacking it. He's shooting them. So absolutely.
Well, that reverses my backwood, because this is gonna be my first backwood of the day. But I'm gonna tail Skee on this. Proud.
There you go.
Let's get it.
Yeah, over points, over threes as well for Terry Rozier for the Charlotte Hornets in this game. All right, next up
is 23rd defending the 3 this year. So
yep.
I'm with it.
Yeah. Exactly. A little bit of a leaky perimeter defensive team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at it now. 23rd in the NBA, 37.6% allowed from 3-point range. So see if that means that Terry Rozier will be able to take advantage of that. Indiana and Houston. Indiana 5.5 point road favorites. 236.5 being the total in this game. There's no sense fighting it. Indiana's just on a great run right now, 7-6 on the season. They've played solid basketball during this stretch. They've been a point spread juggernaut. Even I've hopped on the train the last few games. 8 straight point spread covers for Indiana, 7-1, 6-2 rather, straight up, 8-0 against the spread in their last 8 games. When you look at what they've done too, they had a win against Brooklyn in that mix. They beat New Orleans, pretty solid team. Nearly beat Denver, beat Toronto. They've had some nice wins in that mix, the Indiana Pacers as well. Definitely, they're scoring the ball exceptionally well. They've had Duarte out for a period of time, but hasn't mattered. Tyrese Halliburton continues to just be incredible for them, 20.6 points per game, 22 in the victory against Charlotte the other night. It's been an impressive stretch of basketball from him this season. You look at the numbers too. You've got this Indiana team that's suddenly 3rd in the league in points per game, shooting the ball quite well, scoring a lot of points. And Houston, obviously, we still know a bit of a lackluster defensive team. That's something you want to keep in mind. As far as Houston goes, you look at what they've done here in recent games. The Rockets, a little bit up and down from them, more down than up, obviously. But they finally did get a win against Dallas, 101-92. The other night, 6.5 point dogs. They won that game outright, which snapped a pretty ugly skid that they had gone on. They're getting a decent amount of points here right now, the Houston Rockets, but I'm definitely not in a rush to be going against Indiana right now. I did look, if the point spread streak comes to an end, so be it, but I took my chances here, laying the 5 with Indiana. Do I love it? No, but we've been riding this team a bit. I trust Houston even less, to be quite honest. What do you think here, Skee? Indiana, Houston?
Yeah, I've been on Indy like 5 straight games or something like that. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm not scared of the number just because I know Houston, when they lose by margin. And just looking at when they're at home playing a team who has a game the next day, it goes back to the last season. It's only been 7 times. They're 0-6-1 against the spread. They lose by 16 points per game. So I don't think the number matters. I was looking at, I don't have it in front of me, but I was looking at the Pacers' recent games, the ones that they won. They've been clearing this 5-point margin in all the games except for the one versus the Heat. I think that one was a close game. So I'm on the -5. I'm going to continue to ride the Pacers until they show me not to. And you got to rock with Halliburton. If you want to play points and assists, not mad at that. Double-double, however you want to get it how you live. But I'm going to go with assists. 10.5. He's cleared that his last 4 games. And he just really has to do a lot of the ball handling and playmaking right now, especially, all the time, but especially right now until Duarte comes back.
And also KPJ questionable, back injury for Houston, Kevin Porter Jr. So keep that in mind. That would be obviously a significant loss. He's averaging 19.1 points per game for the Rockets. So keep an eye on whether he's able to play. That would be a massive loss for Houston if he does not. And Halliburton's balling right now. He's ripping it up for the Pacers. If you take his props, there's no way I would talk anyone out of that. What do you think here, Billy?
Like me, some Miles Turner tonight, man. He's been red hot of recent, averaging 18 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 4 straight double-doubles in a fast-paced game versus the Rockets. I think it bodes well for Turner to continue playing well. I like his double-double tonight at +115. I wanted to bet Halliburton's double-double, but man, dude, they're fucking getting a little bit sharp on it, dude. -180 on FanDuel for Halliburton double-double, bro. It's crazy. Like, what was it in the beginning of the season? Like +120, +130?
Yeah, it was plus money, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's why I went the Turner double-double prop. You can take the over 25.5 points and rebounds, -125. Might be able to get that outright just off of points alone.
All right, we got Oklahoma City and Memphis now. We got the Grizzlies, 6.5 point home favorites in Grind City, 230.5 the total in this one. This is another team where it's kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it right now. And that's overs and the Oklahoma City side. It's been something we've been taking multiple games now with this group. And I don't know if there's anyone playing much better basketball right now than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 42 points in the win against Washington the other night. He's playing like an all-star, playing like an MVP for that, to be quite honest. Because you take him off Oklahoma City, what do you have? That's how good he has been for this team this year. You'd think he's going to hit a wall, have a bad night at some point. It's got to be one clunker has got to be around the corner for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When it's going to be, I don't know. Will it be tonight against Memphis, I guess, is the big question here going into this game. They've been absolutely terrific, to be honest with you, on this road trip that they're on. They beat the Knicks badly and put a 145 spot. It's amazing how they're scoring right now. They gave Boston everything they could handle. 126, 122. They beat Washington 121, 120. Like I said, their offensive ability right now is pretty damn impressive. It's not like Memphis has been phenomenal, especially guarding the 3. They're only 20th in the league defending the 3, the Memphis Grizzlies. So it's something that I think OKC might be able to take advantage of here in this game. It looks like from an injury standpoint here for Memphis, Desmond Bane is going to be out for this game, and obviously that's significant, out 2 to 3 weeks with a toe injury. He's already missed the last 2 games, will once again be out tonight for Memphis. For OKC, it's Isaiah Joe, Trey Man, Baisley. They've been out for a while. I'm riding the Thunder again. Getting points. They've been scoring in bunches. Their offense is just so good, it's hard to lay points against them because they're the way they're scoring right now, they're never out of a game, and they showed it the other night against Washington. They didn't play good early, and that offense, and especially SGA, brought them back. So I like the plus points here with OKC, and certainly with their totals. I'm only looking over the total right now when it comes to Oklahoma City. What do you think here, Skee? Thunder, Grizzlies?
It's a backwood for me.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, unlike when Dutch is not here, it takes us a fucking while to get to a backwoods. So that's the main difference in the NBA pub-up shows with and without our guy Dutch. But we love you, Dutch, no regardless. Billy Briz, what do you think?
The Thunder have looked good of recent. I don't blame you for taking the Thunder here. This could be just enough points. It might be a little teaser spot here. I never want to tease NBA, but I mean, would you feel bad with a little double digits with the Thunder right now? The way they've been playing basketball, they've been 4-0 ATS last 4 games overall, 19-7 last 26 road games, and 6-1 ATS over their last 7 games following a win. No bet here for me. Not going to take the Thunder. I mean, we got a lot of sports on tonight. We got college basketball. We got Bellator 288. Shout out to my guy Usman Nurmagomedov. So I'm not going to play the Thunder today, but I don't blame you. If you gave me a free bet here, if the bookie said you get one free bet in a game that they're not betting today, and it was the Thunder and Grizzlies, I would definitely take the Thunder. But, man, it could be a backward spot.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
All right, so we got 2 backwoods. Only me involved in this one with OKC and Memphis. All right, Orlando and Chicago. We've got the Bulls 8.5, 9-point home favorites, 221 the total in this one. Chicago is definitely a team I'm kind of reluctant to lay 9, but at the same time, I don't think I trust Orlando. It's pretty hard to get bombed by Minnesota, who've been pretty much disappointing this year, and Orlando loses 126-108 at home by 18 points. Non-competitive, really, against the Timberwolves the other night. In theory, this should be a spot where Chicago wants to smack down somebody, coming off 3 straight losses, 2 of them at home against the Pelicans and the Nuggets, and then another loss to the Pelicans. To be honest, they lost to good competition at the very least. So I probably could only look at laying the points here. I think Chicago, this could be a step down in class. Just get well and beat down a team that's just not very good, and also banged up Orlando with this 4-11 record. We're still talking Banchero out, Fultz out, Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner, and Cole Anthony still out for this team. Multiple key injuries there. Chicago should get right tonight, but do you want to lay 9? I really don't, so I'm going to back with this one.
All right. Yeah.
All right, Skee.
I lean towards betting the Bulls in this one just because the Magic have been pretty terrible on the road this year. And they play tomorrow too. But I know one guy who's going to take this game pretty seriously, and he didn't play the last game, probably looking ahead to this game resting. He likes going against his old team, and that's going to be Wendell Carter Jr. He averages a little bit, I think, under 22 points per game in his 5 games versus the Bulls so far. So he's cleared his 16.5 points per each time. I think it's a little bit low. Bulls, they've regressed a little bit from that defense they were playing early in the season. Last 5 games, they're bottom 10 defensive rated team. So give me Carter Jr. over 16.5 points in this one.
Yeah, no Anthony and Banchero lit picks. And for Joseph Gomez in the chat, Suggs is in. Suggs is playing for Orlando tonight. Billy, what do you like here?
One of my favorite props on the card tonight. I like Zach LaVine over 2.5 3-pointers at -120. The Magic allowed the 3rd most 3-point attempts allowed in the NBA. LaVine's been averaging 8.1 attempts per game, shooting 38% from the field. I think LaVine goes up and over that 3-point total tonight.
All right, Zach LaVine over 3s for Billy Briz with this one. Denver, Dallas. We got the Mavericks, 9-point home favorites, 216 the total here in this matchup. Money's come in on the Mavs now, betting this one up to a -9. Obviously, it's a reaction to Jokic being out again. Jamal Murray's out for the Denver Nuggets as well. Aaron Gordon, a game-time decision due to an illness that kept him out of the New York game, and he's I don't know if he's going to – I think he's going to miss this game too because he was not involved in the shoot-around earlier today prior to this game in Big D. So I would count on him probably being out, but obviously it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I would expect that to be the case. As far as the Mavericks go, it looks like Maxi Kleber's out. They got Bullock and McGee game-time decisions, but Luka the Don is good to go. He missed the Houston game. That's probably a big factor why they ended up losing to the Rockets in that game. And look, over the last few games prior to that, It wasn't an injury; it was a rest night for Luka. But prior to him getting the night off against Houston, he'd been obviously balling, playing great. 38.5 points per game in the 2 games before that. So you can understand the money move toward Dallas. Still kind of a team that when you're talking about laying points, I'm not really rushing to do that. This has been a team that's been just dreadful against the point spread. 8 straight games they have failed to cover. 0-8 ATS for Dallas coming into this game. So we'll see how they fare here. Their last 2 home wins, the Clippers and the Nuggets, they only won those games by 5 points or less. Denver is depleted. Denver is banged up, but it's too many points for me to be laying now with Dallas, in my opinion. But I don't know if I like the other side enough to back them either. What do you think here, Skee? Denver, Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas hasn't covered since last month. I'm not about to lay or expect them to win by double digits here, no matter who's really on the court for Denver. But what I will do is expect Dallas to come out early in that first quarter because I know Luka's going to play pretty much the entire first quarter, and you don't have Jokic out there. You got DeAndre Jordan playing minutes. So if that guy's out there, I'm fading him. And, so that's what I got for you. Dallas first quarter -3. That's my play.
All right. Dallas early, -3 in the first quarter for Skee. Billy Briz, what do you like?
Damn fucking right, Skee. That's the way to go in this game. Dallas can't cover a full game spread to save their life. First quarter, -2.5. I probably split between first quarter, first half. I think Dallas gets up early, ends up blowing the lead late. Bones Highland, if you can get a Bones Highland prop anywhere out there in the world, if it's even available, Bones Highland should, green light, go for Bones Highland today. And my guy, MPJ.
Yeah, definitely. MPJ is going to have to pick up the slack offensively. Who else is for Denver without Jamal Murray and, of course, Nikola Jokic, the Joker?
Shot
All right.
Dog shit in that last game that I bet him in, man. Holy fuck, against the Knicks, man. I was pissed. Yeah. Shot like dog shit, man.
Yeah, and it shows you that every streak must come to an end. The Knicks hadn't won in Denver since 2006. We talked about that on Wednesday, and finally they did. Coming back fashion to beat the Nuggets on Wednesday night, snapping that ugly losing streak in the Mile High City. All right, Boston and New Orleans. The Celtics 2.5-point road favorites, 230 being the total in this game. Both of these teams playing pretty well. Boston, obviously, they're on quite the roll. 8 straight victories, 8-0 straight up here in their last 8 games. Definitely you got to like the way they play. That was an impressive just blowout victory over Atlanta, 126-101 the other night. Trae Young got 27 points, but it wasn't enough as Boston just really shot the lights out, 55% from the field, 46% from three-point range. They had a whopping, 7 players in double figures? Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett even with 15 points, Peyton Pritchard with 14 points. Like, they got everybody on the stat sheet for the Celtics in that victory against Atlanta. So they shared the wealth, if you will. It was an impressive victory for them. And offensively, they continue to be really dangerous. Tatum has just been awesome. Certainly his props are something you always have to consider a little bit going into this game. As far as the injury situation is concerned, obviously with the Pelicans, we'll see if Zion is good to go. He's the main one. Smart is still out for Boston. Robert Williams and, of course, Gallinari are out long-term, but Smart also out still for Boston. Zion's questionable with that foot injury. He's missed the last 2 games with that foot injury. I'm trying to get there with New Orleans. I want to see if Zion's in. I think there's actually some value. I think Boston's a little overvalued now after that. I know it's a nice 8-game win streak for them, laying points on the road, though, against a New Orleans team that, let's be honest, unlike some of these teams that Boston's played lately where they've been rolling offensively, you will get defensive resistance from the Pelicans, who are 5th in the league in points per game allowed, 5th in field goal percentage allowed, 5th in three-point defense this year. New Orleans, they have some pretty damn good defensive numbers coming into this game. Second, actually, New Orleans in terms of three-point defense, even better than 5th. So it's been pretty solid for them. I think they could have a chance in this game if Zion plays. And I think at some point you're going to feel defensively the loss of Marcus Smart at some point. So the total going up also makes a little bit of sense to me because I do think Boston more of a not lackluster, but their defense suffers without Smart. So I would lean to that over at 230 as well. And I'm definitely interested in the New Orleans side, plus 2.5, just waiting on Zion's status Skee, what do you think here? Celtics, Pelicans.
My bad.
We thought he hated this game so much, he just said, I'm out of here. This game sucks.
I don't like this game though. Just I want to take the Pelicans with you, because I feel like they're playing really good defense. Like you said, they're good against defending the three, which is Celtics shoot a lot of threes. They've been a better rebounding team than them, but I'm not going against a team that's won. How many games has Celtics won? 8+ games in a row. Yeah, I just, and the spread is this competitive.
No.
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. So if I'm betting anything in this game, most I can look at is maybe Valanciunas rebounds. I want to bet somebody's rebounds for the Pelicans, and if Zion might not play too, and just thinking he's going up against Horford, their bottom 10 rebounding team in the last 5 games. I probably look towards Valanciunas rebounds, but I didn't bet it yet.
All right, so lean the Pelicans, but not going to get involved as Skee. All right, Billy, what do you think?
Celtics averaging 6 most points in the first quarter. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league, like you guys have been talking about, getting help from the rotational guys like Sam Hauser. Currently leads the league in plus-minus minutes, man. I like the Celtics team total over 29.5 in the first quarter at -115.
All right, Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz. Next up, Phoenix, 1.5 2-point road favorites, 229 is the total in this game. The Suns have snapped a 2-game losing streak. They get back off that disappointing road trip. They had lost 3 of 4 on that 4-game trip. They come back home, face Golden State, and beat Golden State 130-119. How pathetic is Golden State on the road? I mean, it's really ridiculous at this point. Ridiculous. What Golden State's doing on the road this year. But Phoenix took advantage of it and got that 130-119 victory the other night at home against Golden State. Now they go to Utah. Utah is starting to finally slow down a little bit. We knew this couldn't keep up with them. They're still 10-6, believe it or not, straight up in ATS. But they've lost 3 in a row straight up and against the spread. Washington, Philly, New York at home. They were 4.5-point favorites. They lose that game outright against the Knicks. Chris Paul game time decision here. Same cast of characters out once again. The guys that have been out for the last little bit: Shamet, Cam Johnson, and Crowder. Obviously, Chris Paul again with the heel injury, questionable. It looks like Utah fully healthy except for Rudy Gay, who's out. Everyone else accounted for. I worry about the spot a little bit for Phoenix, the big win against Golden State. Do you have the focus necessary to go on the road here and take care of business against the Utah Jazz? They are the better of these two teams. I could only look toward the Phoenix side, but I'm on the fence about it, but I would lean Phoenix at least in this game. What do you think here, Skee? Suns, Jazz?
I don't like that the Jazz play tomorrow. Other than that, my stats tell me that Jazz have been playing better basketball than the Suns. Suns are 1-3 as a road favorite. Hasn't really been their road. Jazz 3-0 as a home dog. They are top 10 last 5 games in offensive rating and rebound percentage, and they've been playing better defense than the Suns too. So I really want to back the Jazz, especially with the rest advantage. But I just didn't get there yet. So lean Jazz, not in my pocket though.
Yeah, that's the thing too. The road trip and that, which was pretty poor for Phoenix, that's in the back of my mind too. And Utah catching points now. Well, again, we found out the last few games with this Jazz team that when you're laying points with this team, we still don't love them all that much. Of course, except when you play the Lakers, you can still cover as favorites if you're Utah. But other than that game, they were 4-point favorites at Washington. They lost outright. 4.5-point home favorites against New York. They lost outright. We don't like laying points with this team. But now they're in the home dog role. You mentioned they've been good in the home dog role. So that and the Phoenix road struggles are why I'm lukewarm at best on the Suns here. Billy, what do you think about this game?
Backwood, man. I haven't really been hitting these Jazz games too well. I like watching Jazz games. I don't like betting Jazz games because my preconceived notion is that they suck. But in reality, man, they've been playing great basketball the whole entire year. So backwood for me.
All right. Yeah.
All right, the New York Knicks against the Golden State Warriors next up here. We've got Golden State 7.5-point home favorites at New Oracle, 234.5. The total in this game. It's at the point now where it's just absolute lunacy what we're seeing with Golden State in terms of how they just cannot do anything on the road of quality. 0-8 now on the road, but 6-1 here at New Oracle on the home court. They destroyed San Antonio the last time they were here, 132-95. Earlier this week, they beat a very solid Cleveland Cavaliers team, 106-101 at home. They're off a loss to Phoenix a couple of nights ago. You'd think you'd want to see them bounce back from that. New York Knicks continue this road trip against Utah. They won that game outright. Credit to them. They're 2-0 on this road trip. They beat Denver, but Denver was beyond shorthanded in that game. They came back and won 106-103. Third road game, by the way, now in 4 nights for the New York Knicks as well coming into this game. So this to me, spot-wise, is Golden State or nothing for me. You got to think there's an opportunity for them to potentially win by margin against this Knicks team that's now going to be maybe running on fumes a little bit too with them playing their third road game in 4 nights. But and certainly if you're going to back Golden State, this is the place to do it. I don't know if I will, but I lean Golden State here. Maybe if you're going to bet it here, you do a first half full game split. Golden State first half here is currently -4, and the full game is around 7.5. So that's definitely a consideration for me. Maybe you split it up, a first half full game split. They should be looking to bounce back. And again, this is the one place they've played good basketball this season. What do you think here, Skee? Knicks and Warriors?
Yeah, I want to tell Dan Kelly to settle down, man. I think you're moving a little too fast there with the the conclusions. That's all. Golden State.
They're disinterested to me right now.
like
It's not all that
Dayton
they're
volume.
bad right now. It's they're disinterested in a lot of games, especially these road games.
Yeah, and I mean they just won a championship. Their role last year was they're great at home. They weren't the best team on the road last year too. So I mean just look at what they've shown you so far. Ian's already said they were 6-1, and we know you can go back all the way to as long as you want to go. 20 as long as this group has been together. When they lose a game and they're a home favorite, they cover in their next game, and a lot of those games go under too, and it's because Golden State is a great defensive team. And so far this year, their defense hasn't looked great. I mean, a lot of their games they had a really bad schedule, man. That road trip was hell. And they didn't have any time to fix their defense or anything like that. And they just got pounded night after night after night. They had a little time to work on it, and they've shown it in a few games. I mean, look, their last 3 home games, off the top of my head, I think it was I know one was the Cavs. They held them to 101. One was the Spurs. They held them to 95. And another one before that, I think it maybe let the Kings get like 113, but they've been capable of playing defense. It's just, on the road for whatever reason, they just don't do it. Home last 3 games, 3-0 to the under. Games averaging 221 points. And I'm looking at the Knicks. Last 5 games on the road have went under too. 224.5 points per game. I'm thinking this total might be a little bit too high here. I do like the Golden State side. I took that early. I have it at -7. And I would still take it at -7.5. I definitely think they win this game by double digits. I don't think the Knicks can really stop them defensively, but Thibodeau's been trying different things and trying to preach that defense. So we'll see if they get a little something going on that side. I do absolutely trust the Golden State side to win, cover, and play that defense. So I'm on Golden State, and I'm very, very likely to end the day on the under 234.5.
Yeah, because they've actually, I'll throw out a couple examples of the Sacramento game at home after the road trip. They won that game. It stayed under. They lost at Sacramento a few days ago. They came home the very next night, played San Antonio. They won and covered, and then the game also went under the total. So there's been this little pattern of off a road loss, off a blowout road loss. They've come back and focused on the defensive end and played better, got the win, got the cover. So it speaks to everything you like, Skee, here. Golden State and under the total in a bounce back spot here. What do you think, Billy?
Curry, man. Curry's just been shooting the ball lights out, man. Stephen Curry over 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -130. He's covered this in 9 out of 14 games, 5 out of 7 at home. The Knicks have allowed the 4th most points, rebounds, and assists to point guards this season, and the 2nd most 3-pointers made so far this season. So both teams top 10 for pace. I think this sets up well for a Steph Curry game Friday night in Oracle. I think Curry keeps on rolling.
All right, next up, Final game, Pistons and Lakers. We've got the LA Lakers 7.5, 8-point home favorites, 226 the total in this game. I think I finally figured out what the Lakers are all about. They when they play someone that's halfway decent, they actually get interested. They actually try. They actually play a little bit of defense. Although defense hasn't been their issue, they actually look halfway decent offensively in those games. I mean, their last 3 wins were actually against all good competition: Denver, New Orleans, Brooklyn in their last game that they won handily. That's what we've seen from the Lakers. Then when they play a nobody, they play a poor team, a below average team, they just don't give a damn. That's honestly what we've seen from the Lakers. I mean, look at the losses: Sacramento, Utah, twice they get blown out by the Jazz. All kinds of issues. When they face a big spotlight opponent, then they're interested. Detroit's actually covered a bunch of games in a row against the Lakers, 6 straight, in fact, between these two teams. In fact, the only Laker victories, they had a 7-point win 2020. They won by 6 in overtime here in LA in 2021, last February. And then they had a 5-point win in Detroit in November last season. So I haven't had any ability to win by margin against this Pistons team. Detroit's not great. I understand that. And obviously they're still without Cade Cunningham. They miss him dearly. 19.9 points per game with that left shin injury. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon. Definitely not playing again tonight. Killian Hayes has been taking his spot, running the point for the Pistons. But, when you look at the way he's played, he's been okay. Obviously, he's not going to give you what Cunningham gives you, but especially in the offensive side. But for now, it's all right. Jaden Ivey has played pretty solid in his rookie year. I just think for Detroit, I mean, they've been competitive against this Laker team. The Lakers have shown a distinct pattern where, spotlight game, TV game, a little bit better opponent gets their attention. These kind of games don't, and they floundered in this kind of situation. So I'm taking Detroit here, plus the 7.5, 8. Skee, what do you think here? Pistons, Lakers.
No. Skee's not getting involved. Backwood.
All right.
Yeah, Skee's taking the approach of the less Laker games I bet, the better for my health, the better for my bankroll, the better for my sanity. And I would certainly not give him any grief for that with what this team's been doing. What do you think here, Billy?
Shouts to everybody in the chat, man. Make sure you hit that like button on your way to this commercial break because this is a backwood for me.
All right.
There we go. A couple of backwoods and me, lone wolf on Detroit basketball, as our guy AOD is saying in the chat right now. Great stuff. Hit that like button, everybody on YouTube. Let's go. Run those likes up. 222 live viewers. Hit that like button. We appreciate it very much. Reminder, we're coming back with the college basketball show as well. Me and Connor Mack at the top of the hour, 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you join us for that. It's a nice night of college hoops. A lot of marquee games too: Baylor, Virginia, Florida State, UCLA, Illinois. So Michigan State, Villanova. So there's some interesting games on the card. We'll break it down top of the hour. Connor Mack and I on the college basketball show. We'll get to best bets coming right up after we hear from Southtown 101 and Manscaped. All right, Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101, and manscaped.com, promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase, Lawnmower 4.0 or any Manscaped product, 20% off with promo code PubSports. All right, best bets to wrap up this Friday edition, wrap up the week here on the NBA Pub Hub. Skee, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, and you guys doing the college basketball show. I have two college basketball plays. I'm gonna give you an
Yeah,
NBA
throw them
one,
out.
but I'm gonna just throw them out, and then you guys can go listen to Ian and Connor, and they can see if they like my pick or not. But it's UNLV first half -7, and I like the full game versus High Point over 138.5. And the best bet for this show, I'm gonna go with Indiana, man. That's the best line I can give you out of all the games that haven't moved yet. Outside of the props, I gave a lot of props today, but I like Indiana. I've been on them the last 5 games. They've covered every single one, and the Rockets. I talk about it all the time. When they lose, it's by margin. If you have to just pick a winner in this game, it's easy, man. Indiana Pacers tonight. Get paid.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They have been a point spread machine. Indiana Pacers laying the points -5, 5.5 right now against Houston. Best bet for Skee Profit. Billy Briz, best bet.
Yeah, Bellator card starts in about an hour. So if you want a quick Bellator play for tonight, Usman Nurmagomedov and Corey Anderson as a little 2-leg parlay, get yourself paid. But best bet NBA wise for me tonight is going to be the Celtics first quarter team total over 29.5 at -120. And favorite prop of the day, we're going to go with Miles Turner double at +115.
All right, there we go. Prop best bet and that other bet as well for for Billy Briz rather for best bet here on this Friday slate. My best bet, look, Oklahoma City was good to me with the total the other night. Oklahoma City, Washington over the total. I'm going to go with them from a side perspective tonight, +6.5 against Memphis. Again, the Grizzlies have just been magnificent on this road trip, competitive. The offense has been flowing, most of it from SGA, but they've gotten other contributions too. Pokasevich in the low post been good lately. I think they're competitive with this Memphis team on a point spread streak, playing well on this road trip. They hang with the Grizzlies there in Grind City. So going to go with Oklahoma City +6.5 against Memphis for my best bet for this Friday card. That'll wrap up this edition of the show and the week here on the NBA Pub Hub. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button. On the way out, I'll be back in 10 minutes' time with Connor Mack on the College Basketball Show. And a reminder, we're back on Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, with a brand new week of the NBA Pub Up. It'll be an OG Monday, as always, with me, with Skee, with Dutch, and with Wham on the Monday show. So make sure you join us for that. For Billy Briz, for Skee Profit, I'm Ian Cameron. Let's have a big weekend, a great night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you again Monday for another edition of the NBA Pub Up right here, Pub Sports Radio.